Hi, Markus. I'm Boris Eldagsen, a German artist that has been working with photography for 30 years and with AI for 1 year. And I had many conversations with Shane over the last month, and we also had been participating in a podcast and in an online TV format. And what I also realized is there was never enough time really to go deeper with Shane, but we wanted it to do. And as the topic is constantly evolving, we decided to have this conversation now by ourselves with you as a host. And if necessary, we can do it on a 2-monthly basis, because I think that topic will not leave us for the next years. And I'm looking forward to have an exchange with Shane and to listen what Shane is going to expect from our conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Boris and Markus. I'm Shane Balkowitsch. I'm a wet plate collodion photographer located here in Bismarck, North Dakota. So I'm a little bit separated from these gentlemen by location. I've been practicing the analog photography of wet plate for nearly 11 years now. Boris and I ran into each other online. If people don't know, Boris won the big Sony photography award, and then he subsequently refused the award, and it put him on this platform to be a spokesperson. This is my perception, but Boris probably wouldn't say that, but to be a spokesperson for this topic. Boris is in a very unique position that he's a photographer, but he's also chasing this AI photographer, this AI image making.
Don't call it photography.
I know it's a mistake, right? It's a mistake. And I've written 3 articles. I'm working on a 4th article for Petapixel. So I've done some articles on the topic. One of the topics was AI image making is not photography. The second one was how it's going to affect history. And the third one is, can we call it art? This 4th one that I'm working on is going to be addressing these new AI personalities that are coming online and deceiving the general public on their nature and what they're all about. So I think, you know, the 2 times we had a half-hour talk, Boris and I did, and then we had an hour-long talk, which was only like a 35-minute talk, it seemed, with all the commercials. And we just kept we felt that we just didn't have enough time together. So we thought, well, if we're going to, you know, we can message back and forth as much as we want, but why don't we have it more formal and we can kind of share some of our ideas. So I think that's, and I knew about Markus, and I knew that we needed some kind of moderator to bring us together and then to separate us, hopefully, because I don't want this just to be all of us just agreeing on this topic. I really want to be challenged by Boris, and I hope to challenge Boris and Markus. We're also interested in your viewpoints. So.
Yes, and I think we should also invite the viewers to comment, wherever you see it online. If there are some questions you would like us to answer, put it in the comments.
Right. Yeah, I don't even own Photoshop, so I should say this up front, is I don't consider myself any sort of expert. I want to be the voice in the room that is the analog photography guy, and you know, we will. Let's just see where this goes, and maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not interesting, but at least we're developing a format where we can all have an honest discussion, and I really don't want us to be talking in an echo chamber. I really want us to, have some really honest discussions. We're all friends here, but we should be able to disagree and agree, and just see and find out where the audience that's listening to us, where they fall. And maybe with some of the chat and stuff, the questions come across, or some of the interests that people bring to our attention, maybe we can field some of those questions. And I think it just may be very interesting, but it's going to be a format that's going to allow us to actually get some substance, regardless if the substance is good or not.
Then we start again.
Boris technology. I think this is some kind of attack on this conversation.
I think we should not leave the facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Your microphone is blinking, so.
And I remember when we all started with analog photography, I think all of us had a moment where we thought we were taking pictures, but there was no film in the camera.
Or you left the lens cap on, right?
Well, yes, but that we call it black filter. You usually see it. But also then running out of film, when you realize you would like to continue, but there's nothing left. So digital was an advantage, compared to that.
Okay. It's
got but also a disadvantage, because I realized then teaching photography is that people couldn't make a selection and an edit because they were just shooting. And I had like 36 images to choose from, but they had 3,600. And then I also saw the tendency just to upload it on social media somewhere and let the people decide.
So can you can you guys hear me now? Because they're still saying they can't hear me. That's interesting. Yes, now you're audible. Okay, now it's working. Okay, I found the mistake. So I have to watch for that out again.
Do you want to do your introduction again? If they heard
the introduction, I think that worked, because maybe not. Okay, I will do the introduction again. You maybe be right. Yeah, just seeing. Let me double check something. That's the reason we're doing this test before.
I have young photographers coming into my studio, and they take.
So now you could hear me, guys, right? I'm just double checking.
Sorry, Mark.
Yes, no. Oh no, it's good. Give me a second. I'll go back to Teams, and now I figured out.
And I tell these young photographers that I only want your best 30. Okay, if you have 800. You need to tell me your best 30. You need to do the editing. You need to do the selection, because I need to know who you are as a photographer. If you just give me your entire 800 images, first of all, I don't have the time to look at them. Secondly, I have no idea who you are. without you doing the editing.
So guys, I just do a short introduction again and see if the people can hear me now. I think it should work now on both. Let me see. So guys, can you write right now if you can hear me? I saw a yes, but I'm not sure if it's from now or if it's from before. So yeah. So can you guys still hear me? So just waiting for the answer, and then I will do the introduction now. Yes, okay, now it's working. So okay, everybody's saying yes. There's echo in the multiple video view. Okay. We have to figure that out later, the echo, because now the camera is okay. We will figure it out afterwards, because maybe I have to mute myself if you others are talking, because I have two microphones here. Anyways, what you guys missed before was that I'm, as Shane, a wet plate photographer, and I wrote already articles about AI for a German magazine. So I started with DALL-E when it was still in beta. And I come back when I was shooting analog. I think I started with my street portraits like 2011, 2012. And there were a lot of discussion about post-processing and some automatic post-processing with the camera does and stuff like that. And I was shooting exclusively film and didn't do any retouching. So I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion. And now I'm going back to Teams, and I will mute myself so we don't have an echo.
I saw a photographer the other day take a landscape in New York City. So sat on top of a building, Boris, and took a landscape of New York City, and you could tell the buildings and everything, right? So it's a landscape of New York City skyline in 2023, and he decided that he wanted to do a landscape instead of portrait. So he just put it into Photoshop, and I don't know how this works, but this generative fill stuff in Photoshop, and he just decided to add itself. Yeah, he just added 3 inches to both sides of his, his portrait photograph, and so it, AI put these fictitious buildings left and right seamlessly. Within very quickly, and you just couldn't. But so then, as a historian, as a person that's got wet plates at museums, I wonder what that's doing for, for our history, and that those buildings never existed. And now we have this combination of reality and non-reality, and are we going to confuse history? So these are just some of the topics, Marcus said we want to discuss, and we can go down these long rabbit holes, and I hope we find these rabbit holes and we just go to the bottom until we run into a wall, and then we can come back to the surface and go down another rabbit hole. So I really think this long format podcast thing is going to really help, and we're not going to have any commercials, so it's going to be uninterrupted. And I just look forward to it, and I really respect you, Boris. So I just want to tell you that, and Marcus and I are friends, and we've met before, so he knows that about that. That's how I feel about him. So I'm just honored that you're willing to talk to us.
Well, same here. Yeah, I think we had so many good conversations, just like on social media, that nobody was participating or listening to, and it's a good time of the year to go public and to repeat it. I think, as I said before, this topic is going to stay and it's going to evolve. Some things will already be accepted by the photo community this autumn, like what you mentioned, Photoshop generative fill. But I think what you also can do is think ahead, and think about the long-term consequences and the effects it's going to have on our perception of the world and the different photographic industries that are going to use it.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. And I've never said that, we should abandon this. That's never been my position. Just to let the listeners know, it's not my position that we should abandon this and that it doesn't have its place. It has its place. But I think we're going to land on the fact that it's all about transparency. And if the viewer knows what's going on, There's no harm, no foul. I mean, I can see an entire genre, and there's already, I mean, you're at the forefront of creating that genre, Boris. There's a and it gets really dystopian very, very quickly.
It is. I think that's also very important to talk what photography can do. Only photography.
Only photography.
What are the motivations to become a photographer? What is the difference between making real photographs and generating images that look like photography? There is a different workflow. There is a different motivation. There is an overlapping part of knowledge. Yeah. So the knowledge that I collected in 30 years of photographing, I can use to work with AI. And what you have learned to identify your strong images and make a selection, you can also use this strength in working with AI, because in AI, you also need to do an evaluation and edit and look at the results that the AI is going to generate and then decide, is this enough? Am I already happy and it's done in 4 seconds? Or do I want
Guys,
more?
Can you give me a second? I have to just change one little thing because the audio was cutting off again, but I think we got it. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, there's a lot to learn when I... yeah, that's... yeah, give me a second. If I'm talking now, okay. It's okay. Yeah, I will check that afterwards.
And I think this last conversation, we both came to the agreement as well, is that this is improving. And I think just since the last time we talked, right, Boris, it's getting harder and harder. You know, you predicted specifically that this. Certainly is the case that it is improving exponentially, and you know, even for yourself and myself to, you know, I find myself even struggling more and more almost on a weekly basis. You know, me and you kick images back and forth to each other saying, Boris, what do you think? Do you think this is AI? I'm not sure if it's AI. And so I think we're already seeing the changes that we've kind of predicted in our previous talks. And I think,
and it's not going to stay with photography. This summer is the summer of AI generated video. It feels like last summer with like not moving images.
Right.
And you also see all of things that are coming up with sound, with voices, with music, and all of things that we digitalized in the 90s now can be generated. And that is something that we need to be aware of.
And then the technologies are going to be married. They're going to be brought together, which, you know, causes even more concern. So, yeah, I look forward to this conversation with both you gentlemen. And I think we've given everyone a little bit of a good preview here this morning. And whenever that date we decide we're going to talk, I look forward to promoting it and having a nice, honest conversation.
You have already a date, so I will put that in right now. And I guess when I put in the date right now, and I will be cut off. Give me a second. Or I will put the date in when we stop the stream, and then everybody can see it, so we can say our goodbyes, so to say. And I think it was good for a test. I learned a lot. And next time will have cutouts when I show a web browser or images. I just have to add the audio sources to all the different screens, and I'm gonna do that. Thanks a lot for everybody for commenting and letting me know what is working and it's not working. It was really important for me, so I understand what's happening. And yeah, thanks already to you guys for your time today. And
Boris, you have a great your exhibition and stuff and that opening and stuff you're going to. You have a good time this weekend, okay?
Thanks. Yeah. Have a good weekend.
Talk to you guys soon.
Talk to you
thanks
guys
for
soon.
everything, buddy.
Thanks for everything.
Bye-bye.
Bye.